investors are ghosting you, and what do I do about it? You're sending pitch decks, cold emails, you're maybe getting some warm intros, but you're getting silence. So even if you think you've been told you're too early, or maybe it's not the right industry or time, the majority of the time, it's actually nothing to do with your traction or your idea. It's the way you're communicating it. If you don't fix these 5 pitch-killing mistakes, you're going to stay stuck in their inbox and never get a reply. I'm going to break down why investors aren't replying to your pitch and how to flip that silence into a real future conversation. And be sure to stick around to the end because I saved my favorite tactic for last. Most founders come across as super needy without doing any homework. I see way too many founders go and pitch investors with the title of investor from LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever it is. They see a list of all these funds and investors from them, but they haven't taken the time to make sure that that investor invests in their stage, they're an active investor in their industry, and they have experience or relevant portfolio companies. So there's no point in you doing this outreach or getting rejected or feeling like it's a personal hit if you haven't gone to that level of extent. I've literally had one founder tell me they bought a 15,000 person investor email list, and shocker, not one single one of them have given them an email because the majority didn't actually match where they're at and what the founder needs. So that's just laziness, and you've given yourself extra work, and you've probably ruined the relationship with the investor because it shows that you've been lazy and you haven't put forth that effort. Always, always, always do your homework because you're better off having quality over quantity. So the second one is, I know fundraising isn't a natural skill, but the founders who get ghosted the most are the ones who don't treat their raise like a sales process. And when I say sales process, I mean tracking who you're reaching out to, when you're following up, when they last replied, what your last conversation's about, actually putting them in a tracking system or a CRM, because it is kind of a bit of a numbers game. So if you're not tracking it and nurturing your list like you would in a sales process, you're bound to fail and have inconsistent results. So I always recommend get an email open tracker. Do something creative to try to get them to reply because investors are getting hundreds of emails a day. So you're just one in this sea of absolute noise, and they're usually frustrated or exhausted. So it's nothing personal. They just get bombarded by the wrong deal flow. The majority of investors get bad deal flow. So when you spend the time to treat it like a process and curate your list, you become the good deal flow. So the third is you've only sent emails and you're frustrated and you're completely getting ghosted. That means you haven't tried enough options. You might have to go a little CSI here, but it's actually all publicly available information to find that particular investor or fund on social media. From LinkedIn, Instagram, X, even sometimes YouTube, you would be surprised where else you can find the investor's information. And you should, 1, be engaging with their content, and 2, try messaging them there once you respectfully engage with the content so they're starting to pay attention with you. The next you can do is even be setting a demo, a personalized Loom video, and asking questions in your email versus brain dumping them. Let's get on a call. I have this $1 billion opportunity for you. Do yourself a favor and try to get creative about the process and how you're trying to garner that response and create a bit of that FOMO. So the fourth is 99% of emails I see that founders send investors are so generic that it's painful. No one wants to do the work to go research you. They want tactics about how you're going to fit with their fund, why you, why now, and why should they give you the time of day? Why should they look at your deck? Why should they give you a reply? Because remember, they get more bad deal flow than the good deal flow. So when you're generic and not specific, it also kind of falls into that laziness bucket because there's a lot of other founders who are doing that tactical research. So give 3 to 5 specifics in bullet point format with KPIs, with actionable results so they feel like it's different and they would want to take a next step with you. Number 5 is you're giving the investor too much work. If they have to go do their own research on you, or if they have to be the one to be accountable to follow up with you, I promise that's going to lead to being ghosted because investors are getting hundreds of emails a day, if not having thousands of founders apply to pitch their fund every single year. And I mean thousands. So you want to make it so easy for them to click a button, say yes, or book a meeting. Dropping their Calendly link, giving specific times to actually talk, giving specific tactics, asking exactly what they need for a next step and what it's going to look like. Otherwise, they're just going to go to that next founder who made it a little bit easier for them. It's all about the time that you can save them, and they're going to appreciate the recap, the follow-up, and the little bit of specifics that make their life a bit bit easier. So there's not one perfect way to be able to save an investor relationship, but thinking through all of these tactics and how you can get specific to stay ahead in their inbox and maybe some other social media platforms, it's going to give you that next shot. But remember, investors aren't ghosting you because it's personal. They're just extremely busy. So make it easy for them to say yes, do your research, be specific, and you're already going to be ahead of 99% of the deal flow in their inbox. Let me know if any of this resonated with you, and be sure to like and subscribe, and comment below if you've got a question about the fundraising process, and I may cover it in my next video.